Welcome to Comics League Live special indie presentation. I'm Jared, that's Nick, and we're here with LA Cunningham. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys.
So I have one question to start this off, LA.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why are you so awesome?
I don't know how to answer that. What do you mean?
I mean, I've been following you on Twitter for a while, and you just seem to have very clever posts, and you just very honestly a delight to be around. So just why are you so awesome?
I don't know. It's all a facade.
Of course.
Behind the scenes, I'm shit.
Yeah,
we're
all like that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Some more than others.
Awful person. You don't want to know me at all.
So the way I always get started whenever I have a new guest is asking them, what got you into comics?
So the very short answer is my friend Hades. He's the owner of ASAP Imagination, which is the indie comic publishing company I work for, and he was a huge comic book fan since he was like little. And I was not. I was kind of like more in like to like the cartoons, like 80s and 90s, like Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man, like, and then I read like Calvin and Hobbes and all that stuff. So
you're among friends here then.
Well, good. And then but I think I was a bit of a victim of the whole comics aren't real books when I was growing up, so it was kind of more reading like the like novels. I was very literary and like posh. But no, I don't know. I just never really got into it. And yes, my monocle's over here. I don't want it to distract people.
And what's up, Sam Falcon? Yeah, we've all kind of gone through that. I mean, I just got my parents to admit that comics are legitimate books, so I'm like,
it's real literature, Mom, I swear.
Am I reading? It's a book, okay?
Yeah, and both my parents are teachers, so I don't know if it was their fault, but like probably a little.
Well, anyone that says that
into comics or anything.
Anyone who says that, and I'm like, anyone who says that like comics are for kids and they're kids books, I'm like, read Watchmen and tell me that's a kid's book.
Yeah, for sure.
Hello,
yeah,
Blackest Night, any zombie book. Read The Walking Dead and tell me that's a children's book, okay?
Read for sure. Tell me that's a children's book.
But yeah, so that's all. That's awesome, and yeah, so one of the other things that I always ask them is like, okay, so your favorite superhero.
I feel like it's so generic, but Spider-Man.
Everyone's favorite superhero. Everyone's favorite superhero.
And like right now, my daughter, like we accidentally they have like these Spider-Man pull-ups when she was potty training, and she was like, "Oh yeah," like that got her into it, and she's like, "He's a pooper hero." I'm like, "Shit, you're clever for like a 2-year-old."
Well, the way Marvel writes Spider-Man now, that's pretty accurate right now.
Fair, but like I was like the growing up, like the old the old theme song and like the all that stuff was fun. And now my daughter's like into like my daughter's into like the Spidey and His Amazing Friends, which is like the very like kids. It's fun. It's got like sweet music if you watch it on YouTube. They got like every now and then they just like have all this like music videos and stuff, and like I'm into it.
Oh, yeah, those are always fun.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I should. This just sound in the chat. I feel like I should be a Wolverine fan. Wolverine like is from hours away from me. He grew up where I grew up.
Yeah, it's like
hero.
Yeah, the hilarious part is like there was a storyline where Spider-Man and Wolverine actually switched bodies, and that went about as well as that sounds.
Why did you suddenly develop a taste for Canadian malt whiskey?
Yeah, exactly, Peter. Why do you smell like a wild animal?
What? I mean, Peter, I didn't know you like smoking cigars.
It's just Spider-Man on top of like the Empire State Building, his feet up, smoking a cigar.
Just imagine the Wolverine side. It's like, Wolverine, I didn't realize you watched anime.
Wolverine, why do you keep talking about power and responsibility all of a sudden?
Wolverine, why are you talking about the wall? Like, why are you doing that for? Come on, bro.
By the way, this is the way our shows normally go, where Nick will keep something going for a long time. All good, brother. I'm just saying.
We're a bunch of dorks, is what he's saying. We're a bunch of dorks.
No, you do the Family Guy thing where you like keep it going, but it's funny at the start, and then it gets a little less funny, and then like you go long enough, it gets funny again. It's fun.
We did a stream once where it was like late at night because we also do like a really late night news show, and we were so delirious we started doing impressions of comic book characters, like it was Batman and Joker going back and forth for like an hour.
Oh, Holly, you're always the
No, you
best
prompted
toy
him.
in my box.
Okay, next up. Okay, but anyway, yeah, I think the reason why Spider-Man has always been like the most popular superhero, let's face it, besides Superman, is because with Spider-Man, everyone's been a kid at that point who was like had screw ups being in life and stuff, and that's basically Spider-Man's whole existence. I mean, he accidentally killed his girlfriend when he was trying to save her from falling off a bridge.
Yeah,
That's kind of an extreme example.
A bad night.
But you get my idea.
I don't know if that's quite why I relate to it. I
Also,
think it's more just
Yes,
like he's
I
like
too,
swinging.
I too accidentally killed my girlfriend. Yes, I
Yeah.
too.
I'm
Remember
just
that
saying-
time?
I'm just saying he has screw ups all the time. He got sick once, so I'm like, okay. Granted, not all of us have had an alien costume that later turned into a badass supervillain, but that's besides the point.
To be fair, the quintessential Spider-Man story is he gets a check for like $500 something for helping someone out, and then he goes to try to cash it, and he can't cash the check, or like he's got two problems. There's a villain on one side of town, and the other side of town is getting the cure for Aunt May, who's sick, and it's got like that kind of like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So relatability is the name of the game.
Or here's another one where he sells his marriage to the devil in order to.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that, but anyway. And yeah, Peter Pan was basically a stand-in for all teen development, awkward and neat
very
powers.
much so.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. So now let me ask you this: who is your least favorite superhero?
Ooh.
Oh man, I feel like I don't know enough superheroes to have a least favorite. I always find it kind of weird when like there's the superheroes without superpowers a bit, and like
Batman.
Yeah, a little. But Batman was always like I grew up with like Adam West. Yeah, no. I'm not saying Batman's my least favorite, but I was kind of thinking like I don't know, like but Hawkeye's sweet because he's really good at shooting arrows. Like I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of funny when you compare like Hawkeye to like Thor. Like, yeah, he is kind of useless at that point.
I mean, he's like awesome. Yeah, but like Hawkeye's almost more relatable because like as an average person, you're like maybe I could get good enough at archery and be like him.
Yeah,
like it kind of makes it more achievable. Whereas like obviously I'm not going to be like the God of Thunder. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I have a least favorite one.
Yeah, it's kind of I think why Batman is so relatable because like. Batman, he's a man, he can be killed, and like you said, we could be Batman if we become billionaires.
Yeah, that's the thing about Batman. That's a career choice. That's a career option.
Yeah, super. It's like everyone who can, who are like always standing up for billionaires because like one day I could maybe be a billionaire.
You never know.
Yeah.
My least favorite is Captain Marvel.
Cyclops.
Yeah. My least favorite would have to be Captain Marvel because the way she was written in the movie and in the comics. Because in the comics and movies, she's written as men are bad and I'm the best at everything. Okay.
Well, yeah, the people who like, don't have a lot of like who are kind of invincible. Like she's pretty invincible to some extent, and like. And I know, like, I was watching Moon Knight recently, and like once he has the suit on, it's like, can you be killed? Like, I don't know enough of his history and stuff. I'm just like, when they don't really have like any flaws and stuff, it's kind of like I don't know, you're kind of too good.
Yeah.
That's why Superman is like kind of different. Like Superman is one of those characters. Like he's probably the most hardest characters to write for, just because he's so powerful. But the thing about Superman stories is when they're written well, they're literally some of the best stories ever.
Well, here's the thing. All you have to do is, and I've proposed the story many times, harm Lois Lane. That's how you get to Superman. That's his one vulnerability.
I mean,
it's never happened.
Okay, so full disclosure, Lois Lane is my least favorite comic book character of all time. I'm just gonna put that out there. I put a video out saying about how the marriage to Lois stifles Superman stories, and I got blasted for that one. But you know what?
Rightly
I'll take
so.
it. I'll take it. I have opinions. I've strong
Not
opinions.
every opinion is going to be popular with everybody. And
That's
Yeah,
why
like-
they're called hot takes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they call it flaming hot takes. But
Oh, you gave a nuclear hot take right there, but yeah.
nuclear hot take. Well, actually, according to Twitter, it's not really that much of a nuclear hot take. But anyway, so now, what's your favorite movie?
Like in general, or like
Either one.
comic book?
Either one.
You guys did. I did not come prepared for these questions.
All good.
I feel like some reason, like a while back, I went into a podcast and did Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, like a movie podcast. And we were like, pick a movie. Like, it's not like necessarily my favorite movie, but it's like great.
All right,
It's old
follow-up
school.
question then. What did you think of the third movie that recently came out, Facing Music?
I think it wasn't, so I went in with low expectations because like even the second one wasn't awesome, if I remember. I don't remember much about it, but I remember the Grim Reaper being kind of awesome, and then like playing board games with him. The third one was kind of like, I had low expectations, so in that sense I wasn't like disappointed, but like it was kind of like unnecessary. But I don't know, it was kind of fun watching like both of them kind of go, because obviously they're like aged a little bit older now, and watching them kind of go back into kind of like the burnout role and stuff, that because like Keanu's been playing like just like John Wick lately, and just like
Yes!
like no emotion. Well, not that he's ever really had a ton of emotion, but like all these no emotion characters, and then and he's like back into this like I really liked him when he was like young Ted. So
Iron Man kind of sucks. Oh, that's a hot take right there.
Oh,
And I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one, dude. Oh boy.
Yeah, the thing about Keanu Reeves and John Wick is, I think the reason why it works so well is that film is tailor-made for Keanu's sensibilities, because like Keanu is not the best at dialogue, but he's amazing at emoting, and like the same reason why it works so well in The Matrix is because like he is an intense physical actor. Like he will dive himself into training. Like you teach him how to do martial arts, he'll become a kung fu master. You teach him guns, he will become a rifle expert. You know, he is very dedicated to the training. He's kind of come from that Tom Cruise school of like physical acting. But
as an action star, he's good. Like as a rom-coms and stuff, not as much my favorite.
With The Matrix, he did fight training while dealing with a neck injury.
Yeah, little hardcore.
Oh, very hardcore.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. Who doesn't do that?
Yeah. Well, the way I see John Wick is it's a documentary on why you should never mess with someone's dog. That's it. That's the lesson of that. That's the lesson of that. Do not mess with this dude's dog, or you will have problems. And yes, I do agree. The Patriot is one of the best.
Yeah, The Patriot's good.
There you go.
It's really underrated, especially nowadays. I think nowadays we tend to just overlook all Mel Gibson films, but The Patriot's really good.
Or all movies that deal with the concept of patriotism in general, but that's besides the point. But my favorite scene in that movie is when his son is taken by the British, and he like ambushes them in the middle of the forest and just tears them apart.
Yeah, just with like a couple axes.
Yeah, he's like, "Let's go, boys, let's go."
Yeah,
I like
and they're like, "One man."
my
Does he
favorite
like
line,
a ghost or something?
Yeah, kind of.
I forget.
My
I think he's like given some nickname.
is when they're recruiting the village, and the preacher says, "A shepherd must attend to his flock, and at times fight off the wolves."
Yeah, exactly. But what that movie shows is that the age-old military lesson that you can be the strongest military force ever, but if you don't fight like the enemy, you're gonna lose. That's the way it works. We've seen that many times.
It's just I just find it funny that the U.S. won the Revolutionary War by guerrilla tactics, and then got defeated in Vietnam by the same tactics.
Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. We never learn these lessons, dude. But anyway, so
it's like we failed to learn from the British.
Way too political for this podcast. But anyway, so now, okay, so I was taking a look at your website last night, and I gotta ask, because what stood out to me is babies with rabies. Please explain that.
What's it's self-explanatory.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna share a screen right now so Nick can see this. It's hilarious in a good way. But look at this.
What the duck?
Have you not seen? It's funny when you're on Twitter and you just kind of assume people see stuff because you post about it all the time, but Twitter just hides things from everyone, right? Yeah.
Like that.
You're like, how did you know about this, Nick? Jesus. Talk about it all the time.
It's a post-apocalyptic world, and hordes of feral teething babies are frothing at the mouth and roaming the streets looking for their next victim. You completed your training montage. You know how to sew fingers back on. You studied your weaknesses, and now the only thing left to do is survive. I gotta say, though, here's the thing. That's actually an interesting take on the whole zombie apocalypse thing, where the whole thing has been done over and over and over again.
Yeah.
When you're trying to find new ideas, it's like zombie babies. It's like zombie babies. All right, that's new.
So it's like a
brilliant.
Yeah, and that's like once the name wasn't there, I'm like, well, obviously I have to do something with it. So it's like it's Babies with Rabies and ABC Survival Guide. So it's kind of geared towards like kind of like Go the Fuck to Sleep and like K is for Knife Ball and stuff. So it's kind of like it's a kid's book, but it's more towards the parents and stuff. Like it's kind of like a gift book for like new parents and stuff. So it's like it goes through the alphabet and like it kind of goes through like their weakness. Like I have it here and stuff. Like it goes through like the various weaknesses and like what to watch out for, and then it talks about like what to train. Like it has like I have like a little like where's my camera, like the little like blueprint diagram and stuff where it like lists all their stuff. And yeah, so it's all like rhyming and like goofy. Like I kind of sell it as like Shaun of the Dead meets Mad Max but with babies.
That's a hell of a selling proposition.
I gotta say, you created a perfect like baby shower gift.
Yeah, and that was
hell
the idea.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like because like I know when I had my daughter, I was gifted Go the Fuck to Sleep, and I think I bought K is for Knife Ball because I'm like, how can you not buy a book called K is for Knife Ball? And that's kind of what I hope with this one, that like people see it. And I actually like on my website, I actually have like I have like the Babies with Rabies and ABC Survival Kit. So then it comes with like
a kit.
I have like the bookmark so it can get in my camera. And it has like the zombie. I might need to figure out where I keep looking at myself instead of the camera. So it has like the little like stickers, and then it has like I didn't bring it, but also it comes and then the kit comes with teething ring, and I got like I had to custom design some foam ninja stars for the bathtub. So that's
wow.
So it comes with stuff like that. Yeah.
Raising them right. There you go.
Yeah.
You're gonna start that ninja training early, I see.
Yeah, 100%. So
I'm gonna do that if I ever go to a baby shower or like somehow I'm just gonna show up. Here's a zombie baby book. Here you go. Yeah, it's full of useful. Like it talks about teething rings. It talks about painkillers. It's all very lighthearted.
Get that epidural before your contractions.
It doesn't go that far back. It's more like focused on like teething, like when the kids get their teeth and stuff and.
Well, the zombie theme actually works really well, so.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
Now the sequel to it has to be How to Deal with Zombie Seniors. That's the sequel right there.
Or the Terrible Twos, at least. Or
there may be a toddler-based sequel in the works. That it's very slowly in the works. I got a lot going on, but it's kind of like slowly writing some letters.
Oh wow.
See if it
That's
comes
the fun part about indie comics is that everyone has like ideas that you would never see coming, as opposed to like Marvel and DC, where it's the same thing over and over again because there's more like I guess the word is like constrictions in terms of like what the audience will tolerate. In this, it's like do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's fun that way. And I know like when I first had finished this manuscript, I was like, well, there's a market for this. I like tried sending it to some agents, and there's not a lot of agents who are looking for like this type of thing. It's a very niche.
Babies with rabies?
Yeah, it's very
a zombie baby book. Who wouldn't want that?
Because there's like people who are looking for like real parenting books, and there's people who are looking for like graphic novels, which again this isn't, and then there's people who are kind of looking. There's actually not a lot of people who are like we're looking for humor, but again they're kind of looking for like not this. So I don't know. Eventually, I'm just like, what? I gotta do this myself.
It's like a gag gift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like it's not actually like super useful.
Like, have you tried getting in places like Spencer's? I think the Spencer's crowd would go nuts for this book.
You know what?
based upon the way 2020 went, this could become a realistic book, Chris.
You were about to say
Yeah,
something,
fair.
Elaine?
Oh, yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
was just gonna say, so I released it in November, and like I have like a baby who's like just over 1 now, so I was kind of like I've only recently started talking to some bookstores, and kind of like I managed to get to a couple of cons last year with like ASAP and the comic books and all that
those
stuff.
are
So
fun. Those are
and
fun.
like I took the book with me. And then like I did the kind of like before it was released, I'm like, oh, let's do a special printing, and then I can like at least like kind of start getting it out there. And yeah, like in person it like has people there's definitely the people who are like, oh, I'm going to a baby shower and like I should get this. Or so yeah, like
I
there's
definitely think you should. This is definitely something I think you should get into, like a Spencer's or Hot Topic. Spencer's, I think, is perfect for this book. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if we have a Spencer's anymore. I know we did for a while, but
Yeah, I was about to
I know
say,
this
Nick,
is
do those
around my
still
area.
exist?
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they exist here. They might, I know there's lots of places that just pull out of Canada and then they're like, woo, it's living up in the US still. But
we're both the United States, and
Yeah.
I'm from Michigan, and there's a bunch of Spencer's around my area.
okay,
But
That's just
yeah,
like,
I haven't.
or like Spencer's, there's probably similar stores in Canada, I imagine.
it's like the same idea. It's like that edgelord store that everything works, that they would have stuff that's like zombie babies, which works really well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd have to like, because again, like I don't think we have Spencer's anymore, and I don't know what would be the equivalent right now here. So I'd have to, look into things, find time to do stuff.
Just because I live 40 minutes in Canada doesn't mean I know everything about Canada.
You didn't know what's in my neighborhood, all the stores that are exactly close by in the malls.
It would also be a good thing to start pushing in like Halloween time too.
Yeah, and that was like way back when I was like hoping to. I started hyping it around Halloween, but I didn't have my act together. Like it took a while to get things organized.
With the theme of Halloween, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much the theme of Halloween. So tell us about Sister Grimm.
So Sister Grimm is my debut comic, and it's through ASAP Imagination, which is where I'm the editor-in-chief and a writer, and I don't know a whole bunch of stuff. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
I didn't realize we were talking to someone important.
All right.
So important. Like I said, I'm very posh.
Highest level person we've ever interviewed on the show. So there you go.
Yeah.
No interview will ever top this one.
You might as well just retire your channel.
Yeah, I know.
You've peaked. You've peaked.
So we're gonna be like Ryan Johnson now, and so your expectations. This is the last episode of Comics League ever.
All right, Nick. All right. Since you mentioned that name, I have to play this.
Why did you say that name?
Ryan Johnson. As a Star Wars fan, I gotta play that clip.
We have a few forbidden names. I'm not gonna. I don't want him to just be like shotgunning.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Anyways.
Let's get off. Let's get on to a more grim topic.
Yeah. Let's all get super grim about this. So it's JB comic book. It came out. It came out in July of last year, issue 1, and then issue 2 just came out in January. Issue 3's we have it scheduled for, I believe it's October, so it's coming out. And yeah, and it's basically a 4-issue arc. So once we hit issue 4, there's kind of like a big storyline will be complete. There's obviously, we leave a few loose ends to kind of, if there's demand to keep the series going. And because we actually write in a shared universe. So this is actually like, there's a whole bunch of, all of our other titles are like connected and stuff. So there's little Easter eggs, and eventually the idea is to have cameos and have other characters show up, and I can write other people's characters and stuff into her story and stuff. So the idea is that it like goes on for a long time, but again, with indie, like there's if no one's buying your stuff at some point, it's that constant like creative versus business thing. Like, you need, like, if you want this to be a business, you do have to think about the business aspects of it, right? So obviously things need to sell. Whereas if you're just creating for fun and you have like another job funding your hobby and you're just putting stuff out there, it's kind of don't have to think about that as much. But yeah, like the idea is like it is part of a business.
Between, regular publishing and vanity publishing.
Yeah, for sure. So it is kind of like, we want to like we hope that we're finding an audience and we're like busting our asses to get it out there and in front of people and stuff. So
I mean, if the project if the project is high quality, which judging from what I'm seeing it is, I'm saying if the audience can see that like it's a high quality product, they'll go with it. So that's at least in my experience.
Yeah, for sure. And we really just like so ASAP started back in 2020, and we released a comic book where it's written by Hades and drawn by Kyle Wright called Messiah. And then we also released it. Hades and I co-wrote an anthology, which is kind of like a flip book. It's based around this thing called The Event, which is the central event that happens in the universe that basically all these stories kind of circle around. Like it's this big paranormal event, and like people go missing, people die, and then people get kidnapped, and people end up like with Lily and Sister Grimm end up with new powers and stuff. So it's like this big life-changing event. So we wrote this kind of prose anthology that was 16 stories, so just the perspectives of 16 regular people. At least that was the theory, but that's where kind of Sister Grimm came from. So there's like a little more extraordinary people in there, and so yeah, and then we kind of like we released those, and then we decided that we wanted to kind of help other indies. And as we were writing comics in the background, we started the anyoneworld.com, I guess is the website. It's called the Any One World, which is basically a digital platform. So it's a place where we publish. It's like an imprint. So we publish creators, and they keep their IPs and stuff. So we like help people publish their stuff wherever they can. And recently we kind of also turned it into a digital bookstore. So it's kind of just another place to get yourself out there, and you can. So we got all kinds of new stuff coming there, and you can buy stuff and read digital comics and all that stuff.
I'll have to talk to you because, like, I'm a fellow.
Yeah, 100%. If you have a digital version, like, you can send an email and you 100% put it on our platform. Like, if you want to type in anyoneworld.com, like, you can see all the stuff and all the stuff. That's
I'm all for getting like comics on the most platforms possible. So
yeah, for sure. Like anytime you can get more eyes on this, and this is kind of the thing. The Any One World is basically we started it to just help other creators because we had a whole bunch of people who are like, oh, I wish I could do a comic book, and I have an idea, or they like have almost done it, and like they're like, but I don't know how to print it or distribute it or market it. So it's kind of
it's a learning curve. I
for sure.
I mean,
and I think
I'm the same boat.
And it's nicer to do it not alone. So it's basically the idea of creating a community. And so we did that, and we also have a ASAP Minis, which is a children's book imprint and stuff. So and so anyways, that was a bit of a tangent, but basically we focused on all that stuff for a while, and then last year we really ramped up our own titles for our world, and that was like, I think the first one was OPSEC, and I think it was in I have the wrong dates. I think it's in May, and we basically released one a month, so now things are really like coming out. We got 6 titles and things are coming.
That works well. And let me ask you this. So in terms of like reading books, whether or not that's comics or like regular books, did you prefer digital, or are you a page turner type of person?
I'm a page turner. I find that it's like one of my like pet peeves right now on Kickstarter is people just won't let me buy physical things because I'm in Canada, because they're like, oh, US only, and I'm just like, because I like want to support people. Shipping. I know, but like, let me pay for shipping. There's literally there's 2 people in the US or like that I can think of specifically where I could only buy them through their website, and the comic book was like $6, and I paid like $30 for shipping, and I'm like, I have that little bit where I'm just like, oh, that's really painful, but like, you want it, and I don't want the digital version. It's just because a lot of times if I have the digital, I never read them.
Mm-hmm. And I think with a lot of people, it's like, they think, who will pay $30 shipping for a book, kind of
and not all of the books, but like there's some ones that like if you're really like, I like you and I want to support you, and especially if I'm like, this is a cool idea and I want this, like I want to hold it, I'm way more likely. Like sometimes I need to talk myself into it it takes more, like when you're in the shopping cart and you're like, can I do this? Can I justify paying this shipping?
Yes,
and like,
I'm in the middle of that right now because I'm like, do I want to buy this omnibus, or can I justify this purchase?
Yeah, but lots of times I find that like if people, the same thing with Kickstarter is like, you already have all the perks. Like if it's not too hard to throw in like the two people, like the one I ordered it and it was after the Kickstarter, and I showed up and I didn't ask for anything and it was just full of swag, and I was like stickers and posters, and I'm just like, that's awesome, because like there's like a minimum to shipping and like the cost to like throw in a couple extras to be like, I'm sorry you had to pay $20 for this or $30 for this, like. And same thing, like, and the other one, like, is David. I never know how to say his last name. David Prespos. I don't know. He writes for Avengers and stuff, but he signed it for me and stuff. So I'm just like it doesn't. I don't know. Like just that little extra thing.
That's the problem.
I love the swag.
I prefer print because I don't want these companies going back and like editing their work, because that's the other issue, is that they can always change that has happened. And plus, when you're reading, there's a sense of accomplishment if you actually turn just like, I got this, I accomplished.
Allow me to quote Stan Lee for a moment.
Yeah.
So anyone who I think both you guys know what I'm about to say. So Stan Lee once said, physical comics are like boobs. They look great on a screen, but I'd rather be holding them in my hand. Stan Lee actually said that.
I did not know what you were going to say.
I did not know. I never know what he's going to say next. So it was a new experience with Nick.
Stan Lee actually said that.
Every day is an adventure.
Yeah, sure. It's like even on DVDs, if I really like the movie, I'll get the DVD, because it's on streaming, but they could take it off on streaming anytime.
Yeah.
And
I think the more common saying is a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I think that's the more common non-boob.
That's the more
way to say.
That's the non-Nick version of that expression. I'm just kidding, brother.
Yeah, I mean, like Disney Plus has already gone back and edited some of their shows. Like, for example, in Ms. Marvel, the Statue of Liberty was green, but they edited it to look more like a copper color to reflect Spider-Man because of timeline issues. So they're already doing that kind of stuff.
And they took out some of the blood from Falcon and the Winter Soldier when like a dude gets hit with the shield, and I'm like, okay, then if you're gonna edit this later, why did you put it in the product?
Yeah, honestly, I think we've edited a couple things. It's just because when things are out, you do kind of realize that maybe the timeline doesn't quite add up, or like something, or you get some reviews and people are like, this doesn't quite make sense. Like that's why editions exist, right? Like
physical media exists, so like the people who want to see the newer versions, they can go back and see it. At least that exists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then you have like a collector's edition where you're like, oh, this is the one with the spelling mistake.
There you go. But yeah,
people are liking you, Lori.
I'm a delight. They should.
All right, yeah. Based on your Twitter, I'll back that up. But yeah, I mean, that's the issue, because the only issue with collecting physical is the shelf space, because I'm at that point. The scariest feelings when you buy, because you have that great experience, that great feeling. You just purchase a new stack of comics. I'm like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna read this. Then you look at your shelf space get smaller and smaller and smaller. That is the scariest feeling in the world for a collector.
Or like when you put like a really heavy book on there and it starts to grow, and you're like, oh crap.
How heavy books are you getting?
I just want some light reading. What can I say?
Some light reading.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like that's always the issue. Plus the fact that it's the same thing with like statues or anything like that. And that is the advantage with like digital, is that conceivably the only space is the amount of space on your machine. You can always upgrade that really easily, or like with cloud storage and stuff. But it's like it can't beat that sense of accomplishment when you actually turn a page. It's like, oh yeah.
Well, and also like if you don't like it, it's easy to delete it, and you're like, that never existed. Whereas also like if you buy a comic that you could take a chance on and it's not as awesome as you thought it was, you're like, especially I was like, there's not going to be resale for anything. So it's kind of just like it's a bit of
what?
Nefarious is calling you out.
Just get a bigger house.
Just get a bigger house.
Easy. The easy, simple solution.
I have plenty of shelf space. I'm just saying it's getting scary. So I'm just like, oh no.
Just
Get a bigger
become
house,
a billionaire, become a billionaire, get a bigger house, be Batman. This is the life.
If the YouTube channel if it picks up, what's up, Jay? If you want to hop in, I'll send you a link. But yeah,
always be yourself, unless you can be Batman.
Then always be Batman.
Batman.
There's no reason to not be Batman at this
There's
point.
no reason not to dress as a bat all the time.
I saw a dude on Comic Book Men. He built a bat cave complete with a secret entrance in his basement, and I'm like, I want that.
You know, they say dress the job you want, not the job you have. Well, that's why I'm now in an HR meeting dressed as Batman.
The problem with that, I saw this fantastic meme. It was a kid crying, and then he goes, when you tell the guidance council you want to be Batman, but you know what must be done to your parents in order to become Batman.
Cue the Wesley Snipes crying shooting meme.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But he's already got a plan. I'm sure. Look this way, everyone has a plan if they become Batman at some point.
Yeah.
Everyone has that plan.
But if you become Batman, do you stay good or do you go bad?
Oh, I still stay good.
I feel like I was like talking with people, or like people like if any of us actually got superpowers, like the first thing everyone's just robbing a bank. Like really, everyone's just robbing a bank.
Or how about like,
wow.
Yeah, whenever I talk to anyone who talks about getting superpowers, they're always like, I would be Homelander, and I'm like, and I'm concerned for you right now.
Yeah, don't dress up. I know I was at a con one time, and then when some guy came up dressed as the Deep, and I'm just like, I'm not sure what to think of you dressed as that.
I think
like
the other got warmer in here.
Everything just got warmer. But yeah, you don't want to dress as anyone that's seen The Boys does not want to dress up as any of those people.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh yeah, you're dressed as the Deep. He's like, yeah, he's awesome. I'm like, is he?
How's that A-Train cosplay coming?
Oh,
I know, but my Jason Momoa Aquaman cosplay is going really well. I already have the Trident, but yeah, I'm like, whenever anyone like cosplays as like, let's say like any member of the Seven, I'm like, sacrifices must be made to achieve your dream. You can't make an omelet without killing your parents.
That is dark. That is dark. I love it.
Cue the SpongeBob violin right there.
I mean, no one knows what it's like to be the bad man.
Now that's what I call a killing joke.
boo.
Boo this man! Boo!
Oh, screw you. But anyway.
No thanks. I'm
No,
sorry.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. But Jaheed, do you have any questions for Lori?
Actually, I just want to say, Lori, I'm a huge fan, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thanks.
All right, there's a man, a few words. The Deep has some very specific fans. Yes. From
Let's try to
episode
keep it PG, ladies and gentlemen.
episode 1, do not be the Deep.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I think he's really awesome. Have you seen the show? Like,
It's like someone that goes, I want to be.
But who would you say is lamer?
What?
Pre-2010s Aquaman or the Deep? Who would you say is lamer?
Early 20, no, the Deep, because the Deep is a. I'm gonna say a violator of women, and there's nothing more lame than that. So I'm gonna go with that.
Well, technically, he's a parody of Namor, so.
Well, that makes sense then. If you're talking about he's more of Aquaman than Namor. Have you seen his costume?
True, but
fish.
But the
I don't
parallel.
think Namor talks to fish though.
Yeah, Namor does not talk to fish. That's what I'm saying. He's more Aquaman. But it's kind of funny when Justice League came out. Lori, I saw this fantastic meme that was like Jason Momoa cast as Aquaman, 2017, the day Aquaman jokes died.
All of them died in a single day. Rest in peace, all Aquaman jokes.
So I don't know why though. It's because like.
Because they made him a badass instead of like the dude that talks to fish.
Okay. It's like, I assume it's this. So like, yeah.
Well, the minute you have this.
See,
When you have that.
Bow before the Momoa's charisma.
Yeah, exactly. He exudes, and it's kind of when you think about it, he works as a certain. He works as Aquaman or Lobo, but either of those two, we'll see what James Gunn decides to do. But Let me ask you this. Go into this. If any of your projects could be turned into a movie or series, which one would you think would be best as a movie or series?
Well, Sister Grimm is kind of, well, again, it's kind of tricky because they're all tied together. Because even like the anthology, like we're turning it into a comic book right now, and like Lily appears in it, so it's all like loosely tied together. So basically, just all of our titles,
all the time. Cinematic universes are
big. Yeah, you have to do them all for it to make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, Sister Grimm, like she's half Reaper and stuff, so
that works.
I think she'd have some good dark, some gritty TV.
a lot of those types of shows that deal with all that grim stuff are actually really big right now. So
yeah, right now it would probably be. I think it would fit in nicely.
Just don't have it be adapted by the CW, otherwise it'll turn out like a teen drama show.
Gotham.
Yeah, but Gotham Knights. Yeah, exactly.
So spare yourself the cringe while you can.
Yeah, no, get out of here. But so let's see. We're at the full 40-minute mark. We got a little more time. So let me. So if you could have one piece of advice for anyone that's trying to get into indie comics, what would that be?
To just try it. And I know that's like kind of one of the weird things where it's just like I know I was so hesitant to put things out there because I was like waiting until I was like good enough to do things. And like indie comics wasn't on my radar, but even before I'm like, oh, I can't submit this because it's not ready. I'm like, I should read a whole bunch of craft books and watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos and learn all this stuff. And it's kind of one of those like, at some point you just have to start putting stuff out there, and then I think that's part of the journey and learning process. And I know with comics, like there's a lot of kind of like people are always, there's more barriers than putting out prose, which is actually why we put out a prose anthology to begin with, because it was just like you don't have to pay the artist right away. Exactly. Learn to draw. So
I would agree with that. Like just go for it. You know, I mean, if worst comes to worst, you learn as you go. I know there's kind of an expectation among certain fans that you need to have right out of the gate. Your book needs to be like Marvel plus quality. Like it needs, you know, like I've seen indie. Yeah, like I've dealt with people who are like they're you know, like they're very like, we want this book to be like twice the quality of whatever Marvel's putting out, you know, and there are books that are like that, and that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just they're demanding that all these books be that, and I think that's kind of a not an obtainable goal for most people. I'm like you know, I put up the books. There's obviously going to be criticism about them, and most people, honestly, they give very, very good feedback, and I just take what it is and apply it to the next issue. It's really that simple.
Yeah, well, I think if you have a compelling story, like, of course, art can sell it and make it more palatable and stuff. But like, we have people in the Anyone world two people who it was their first time publishing a comic book, and they're both the artists on it too. So they're going to improve, they're going to grow, their style is going to change and stuff. But like, their stories are awesome. So if we like put it out there, and then I know, like, there's obviously when you're doing comics, especially, like, there's like the money thing is a big barrier. So if you can't draw, like my thing would be like, just try to draw, like start. And I know like I have something coming out in April where I'm like, I'm going to try and encourage people to do that. Haven't announced anything official yet, so it's very hush hush. But yeah, so it's kind of like that. And then like just start drawing. Like I always talk about where, I don't know if you guys know, XKCD is this like online web comic, like it's 3 panels and it's Stickman. Like, and it's huge. Like he's published multiple books about it, and you'll see it'll show up like just random Google searches and stuff. Like if you don't know it, you've probably seen it before. So like just start putting stuff out there. And again, like if you can tell a story and keep people compelled, fine. And I always say too, like if you're interested in something, odds are good someone else is as well. So like
that's
it
what I've
may
always
take a while to find them, but that's part of the process.
It's very similar to the advice that I give people. Like mine is like write with passion, write well. Like if you're not excited, like if the idea of your story doesn't fill you with excitement, like if you need to be your own biggest fan. If you're not 100% in love with your story, then maybe you should either tweak it or do something else. That's the advice that I always give.
Yeah, and that's the thing. and you have to just write it well. You also have to just have passion for the medium, because if you're passionate about comics, then people are gonna detect on that, and they may like look beyond, like they may excuse a few faults and bring it up and go, hey, listen, you love the medium. Here's how you can improve, but beyond that, it's fantastic.
I mean, look at like at almost any modern geek show on mainstream streaming service like Velma and stuff. You got these shows that are obviously not made with passion; they're made with an agenda, and it shows. You know.
Yeah.
She-Hulk obviously was not made with passion.
Well, I think that's the thing with indie too. It's just like you said at the start, indie has room for you to like just put out anything. Like it doesn't have to be super polished. It can be your first time. Like it doesn't have, like, you just put stuff out there, and then like you even if you don't find, like, even if people are like, oh, this needs improvement, you still find people who support you, and they're like, oh, like they're rooting for you, and they'll still buy your stuff even if it's kind of shitty. And ideally it gets better. I can confirm that my stuff wasn't shitty. Yeah, if your first Kickstarter is just funded by friends and family, that's fine.
There you go. It's less stuff you have to sign if you do a sign bonus. So there you go. It's less hand cramps. There you go.
Less shipping.
Exactly. Well, and yeah, it's because plus here's the thing about indies too, is that there's less of a barrier in terms of like content, because you don't have to. What I mean by that is that you don't have to go because if you're going to Marvel and DC, chances are you're going to be writing a superhero story. With this, you don't really need to do that, because it's like any topic that you want to do, you can do a comic for it, and it really and the topic doesn't really matter.
Like, for example, if you want to do a comic about babies with rabies, you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Hey, you're taking a genre that hasn't played up and doing something new with it. So, all right, I applaud that.
They're not like specifically zombies. They're just rabid. They're just zombie-esque.
All right. And it says India is the closest American comics will get to manga and anime. Yeah, because there's so much
variety.
There's so much variety in terms of topics and stuff. And they say, indie comics are a lot like manga. There's something for everyone. You don't need to worry about pleasing the majority. You can make something that pleases your readers specifically. And hey, if they share it and then you gain more readers, hey, that's great. But if you have that core audience that will support you, like you said before, you're golden.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think Tonic Mulse once said, like, he'd rather have 3,000 dedicated readers than like 30,000 down or something like that. Or like he'd rather have a small dedicated fan base that just supports him enough to make a living than chase mainstream success and have to deal with all the stress.
Yeah.
Plus, then with mainstream stuff, there's more expectations for you to adhere to, like, certain, like, I don't want to say standards, but norms in terms of like, again, the content of your storyline, the art quality too. Like Nick said, because I've seen those conversations where they expect like every indie comic to be like Alex Ross quality art and stuff, and I'm like, well, you can't expect that because A, none of us can afford Alex Ross, but second off, it's like you realize that a lot of these people are just starting out doing this, so they're not going to be at that level. They could grow to that, and that's and that's the other great thing about indie comics is that I think there's more room to grow.
Yeah. Plus, honestly, making comics are expensive, especially if you're hiring things out. Mm-hmm. And the people with varying levels of income. Like for me, I am very low income, and I've been fortunate enough. I found an artist who is both good and affordable. And since I'm a writer, I don't have to pay a writer, so that helps a lot.
Yeah. I think that's definitely like same thing. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but it's also working through ASAP and stuff. Like you do have kind of that community and can one of our first artists is named Matteo Maciorowski, and he's from Argentina, and he did an awesome job. And he was like within our budget, and we are basically like, hey, do you know any more artists? And that's how we found my artist for Sister Grimm, and that's how we found like like 10 other artists as well. He's like, yeah, I know a shit ton of artists. Like, here they are. And then, but yeah, like my artist, it was his first official comic book. Like he's since released another one that he was like this Argentinian historical political thing with his brother and stuff.
It's funny
like,
you mention art. Like, there's got to be like some sort of like comic book scene down there because like
yeah, there's
I've
gotta be
encountered
So many artists are from there.
yeah,
my
and
artist
they're
is from
awesome.
Argentina.
No,
My
no
artist
way.
is from Argentina. So it's,
Maybe they know
like,
each other. That's how it works, right? That big, massive country. I'm sure they know each other. But yeah, but like it was his first.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, but I love it because like it was his first comic
like
book, and then
someone,
like
it's like you're talking to someone in California, like, hey, do you know this person? They live in Massachusetts.
yeah,
Other,
just like,
you know.
yeah. People always ask if I know people in Toronto. I'm like, that's like a 5-hour flight away. Like not a drive, a flight.
Canada's a big country.
Yeah.
I'm actually 4 hours away from Toronto, like 4-hour drive.
Right? We're not close.
And then,
we are not the same.
And then
Yeah.
Jay, he added in a private chat that I agree that there are a lot of new generation comic writers out there, but the hot trend is superhero comics, and not everyone is suited for hero comics. So that's true, and plus, yeah, and that's a good point because when you because with indie comics, you can write the genre that you're suited to. Because yeah, I agree with you. Not a lot of not everyone is cut out to write like to write like the Justice League or the Avengers or Superman and all that stuff. But you can be suited to write like small scale like crime noir stuff or horror stuff and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
So on that note, I think that's a good place to leave it. This was a fantastic interview. Laura, you're always welcome on the show. So
Any final words?
Where can one find you?
So my website is lacunningham.com. ASAP's website so my website has like babies with rabies, but it also has links to ASAP. ASAP is asapimagination.com. And then my babies with rabies are showing up on the anyoneworld.com. And then what else do we got? We got globalindiegroup.com, which is kind of this another community we've kind of built to try and connect indies, I guess. So like podcasters, reviewers, artists, writers, and stuff. So we have that. And then what else we got? We got YouTube, we got Instagram. I'm mostly on Twitter. That's kind of where I'm like the most active. I have other accounts, but just find me on Twitter. Go through my website and I can tell you we can chat. But on Twitter, I'm at LAURCUNN.
All righty. And Nick, did you have any closing questions or thoughts or anything like that?
So, any other advice you'd give to aspiring creators, or like any other final thoughts you want to share?
I guess the other thing would just be kind of find our community if you're interested in if you are an aspiring comic, like come find me. Like I work for an indie comic book company, and we like are trying to publish comic book creators and stuff. So yes, I have the EIC title, but I like try to be approachable. Like I don't want people to be intimidated to talk to any of us really. Like yes, it's a business, and yes, we're trying to put out content, but we're all just geeking out over comics. So that's really all we want to do, right?
People tend to forget that ultimately we're just a bunch of people that love comics. So there you go.
Yeah, like we shouldn't be super intimidating. We're just really nerdy.
Yeah, I guess so. So on that note, everyone, stay heroic, and we'll see you all next time. Bye bye. And
Thanks.